kind of good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good people of the tube. Today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Considering how weird the real world is right now, I hope your world is good. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're looking after each other and taking care of each other and just getting on as best you can with all this craziness that's going on. The world has gone mad. I don't know what to make of it all. In all fairness, I'm more terrified about the aftermath than the actual virus. If I'm being perfectly honest, it feels like there's some kind of weird end game here that we're all not seeing. We're all being kind of has been hidden. There's some kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it too far, but I don't know. But something feels fishy about this whole virus. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure we'll find out one day, which will be joyful. Okay, so anyway, let's dive into question one today of today's Q&A already. I'm just going to be doing 4 questions today. After last week's Q&A, doing 4 questions, it felt really nice to do 4 questions. So I'm going to do 4 questions today as well. Okay, so question 1 today is: does John Fruscinate's 1962 Fender Strat have a slab board or not? Okay, I'm pretty sure John's 62 is a slab board. The reason that you can tell really easily. Slab board Stratocasters, old Stratocasters, if you look at the headstock here, if I can get it in here, let me get it in the light. I don't know if you'll be able to see this actually. This is kind of a bit. Oh, there we go. There you go. You can see here. You see the rosewood board here. It's got a slight curve to it. That's not flat. There's a slight radius to that where you can see it curves. There we go. Get closer to the camera, Dave. You can see that the end of that fingerboard there going into headstock. You can see there's a curve on it, and I'm pretty sure you can see that on John Fruscinate's 62. Okay, the way you can tell, that's the way you can tell it's a slab board. Veneer boards like the Tokai here will just be straight like that. They'll just be flat. They'll almost kind of go concave, if you will. I suppose the way to kind of look at it is if the rosewood at the headstock is kind of like convex? Convex, then it's a slab board. If it's concave or just straight, then it's a veneer. So I'm pretty sure John's is a slab. I'm pretty sure if you look at pictures, you can see that slight radius on the headstock of the headstock. I think I said headstock twice then. Anyway, but yeah, I'm pretty sure John's is a slab board. Dave Lee said they re-radiused the fretboard. I don't know how true that is. They made it a flatter profile, but the thing is, it's like if you get the action set on a vintage radius Strat neck, if you get your action set to the right height, your guitar won't choke out. I mean, you can't have the action super low, but you don't really need to re-radius the fretboard to get it not to choke. You just have to kind of like have the strings a little bit higher than usual and set the guitar up to suit. I don't know if that makes any sense. But again, I don't. Some of the things that Dave Lee said in some of these questions about John's guitars just make me just. Much in the same way as some things are said about this coronavirus, make me just kind of go, really? You know what I mean? It's just there's some very fishy things going around with the information regarding John's Stratocasters and stuff like that, and amp setups and stuff like that, and you know, there's that weird, there's weird like, there's a lot of weird kind of facts, you know, if they are facts, you know, I mean, it's one of those weird things, but I tangent. But yeah, the way you can tell rosewood slab from rosewood veneer is, I say, look at the headstock. Like I say, if it's kind of like a kind of radius kind of outwards like that, then it's a slab board. If it's flat or slightly concave, it's a veneer. So and I'm pretty sure John's is a slab. I would really like to know what serial number John Fruscinate is, because I'd love to reference it against mine, because. I'd just love to know how far away his is to mine. Imagine if it was like the next one in line to this one. I mean, I would lose my mind if I found that out. I swear at some point there was a magazine article where it told you the serial number of John's Stratocaster, but I've never been able to find it again. Maybe I dreamt that. I don't know. Who knows? The mind is a strange and wonderful palace. Okay, moving along. So I hope it's answered your question. Like I say, that's the way to tell veneer from slab. So that's the question. Moving on to question 2 now. Question 2 is, what speakers do you generally pair with your Marshall MGs? Okay, so it varies between the Marshall MG cabs that I have, which have the Celestion MG speakers. I forget. They're, what, are they 120? I think they're 120 watts. So, 1 second, everybody. Yeah, I think the Marshall MG cabs are a 120 watt cab at 8 ohm. Which makes the speakers 30 watt each. I could be wrong. But I generally pair my favourite speaker in the world is the Celestion G1275s that are found in the Marshall JCM 900 cabs. I just find for my ear, for the sound I'm after, they're the smoothest, warmest response, if that makes any sense. You know, there's just something about those speakers. But I do use my MGs with the stock MG cab that I bought the amp with. The half stack I got bought in 2004 is still the half stack I use now. Same speakers. I did have to do some repair work on it the other day as one of the connections failed. But yeah, they're just Celestion made MG speakers. I forget what they are now. I forget what the model is, but I pair them with them. But like I say, I also pair them with the G1275s. I've also got a pair. I wanted to buy 4, but I couldn't afford 4, so I could only buy 2. I've also got a pair of Marshall Heritage speakers. And they're Celestion made as well. And they're 75 watts. Or are they 70 watts? They're 75 watt speaker each. And that's what's in the battered cab. The battered Marshall cab that I'm using at this point in time in the demo room, that's got the 2 Celestion Marshall Heritage speakers in. Because I wanted some speakers in that cab. Because when I got that cab, there was no speakers in it. It was empty. So that's got Marshall Heritage Celestion speakers in it, which, like I say, I wish I could have bought 4 of, because they're great speakers, really awesome speakers. They're a little bit different sounding to the G1275s and also the MG speakers, but I like that because it's a different response. Also, in my orange cab, I have 2, again, because I couldn't afford to buy 4. I have 2 Marshall MG speakers as well. And they were the speakers that were inside my Blues Faker that my friend Andy from FA Guitar Cabs made me. The 2 speakers inside that cab, that Blues Faker enclosure, are now in my orange cab, which is technically set up as a 212 now, and that's got 2 MG speakers in it. That can't be 30 watt. They're not 30 watts then, are they? I don't know. I don't know what the wattage of the MG speaker is. I'm totally lost now. I know the Celestion G1275s are 75 watt speakers. I'm pretty sure the Heritage speakers are 75 watt speakers. I could be wrong again. The MG speakers the MG speakers I've got in my orange cab are rated higher. So maybe they're different to the cab speakers. I don't know. But that's what I know. But again, they sound different as well. I think all speakers sound different because I've got 2 MG cabs. I've got the AMG cab and I've got the BMG cab, and I love them. I've been using them forever. That was my gig setup for years. Was an MG double stack. And then yeah, so I pair with the proper the proper MG speakers. My favourite speakers are the G1275s. Like I say, the response is smooth. The dynamics are really, really nice. They're just my favourite speaker. I love them to death. And if I could afford to, I would change all my speaker cabs to just those. Again, just not necessarily out of consistency, because, you know, certain speakers, you know, on a cabinet, if you've got a 412 cab, this speaker will sound different to this speaker, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? It depends on how they wear in, because you know, there's always, on a 4x12 cab, you always find that one speaker will sound better than the other if you go around them. And I'm going to do that one day in a video. I'm going to go around my JCM 900 cab and show you the difference between the four speakers, because they all sound slightly different, which is really, really cool, and it creates such a cool different sound. And that's what I miss using a combo, actually, to be honest with you. Like, just having one speaker, I miss the variety of sound you get out of four. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's what I normally pair. 50% of the time, I'm on the MG's speakers. Another 50% of the time, I'm on the 75s. And at this point in time, obviously, I'm using the Heritage speakers as well, the Marshall Heritage speakers. But yeah, so that's what I like. But like I say, my favourite speaker is the Celestion G1275s. I just think they just work for any amp. They just work for any amp. I like the CR120 loves them, the MG loves them. I bet any money the Katana would love them if I could plug it in. I don't really want to mod my Katanas to do that though. I'd just rather buy the head. Every amp I've ever plugged into the JCM 900 speakers just sings. Whereas I used to have a Marshall AX cab, and that had Celestion greenbacks, 25 watt greenbacks in it. And they were okay, but I found the response to be a little bit harsh for me. There was like a fizziness to the sound I didn't like. So that cab went. I eventually got rid of it because I didn't like I loved the look of it, but I didn't like the sound of it. And I've tried all sorts of other speakers as well. But like I say, been a lucky git. I've tried all sorts of speakers. So I kind of know what works for me and what I like. So yeah, so that's what I pair normally with the MGs. It's either the stock speakers, the Heritage speakers, the G1275s, and that's about it really. Those three. So yeah, they're the ones I normally pair with it. And like I say, they're the ones that just my ear has come accustomed to. You know what I mean? So I don't, because I'm a creature of habit, I don't feel the need to stray too far into experimentation land on speaker front. You know, if they sound good, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it is the way I kind of feel about it. Okay, so you also said, have you got any tips on switching the crunch and reverb on the MG? You can't do that, sadly, with the MG. I always felt it was kind of like one of my little kind of, not criticism, but kind of like, you know, it'd have been nice. And I'm sure you can mod them actually to do this, but I've always felt with the Marshall MG, the MG is technically a 4-channel amp. You've got clean, crunch, OD1 and OD2. But technically, it's only a 2-channel because you can only ever use clean or OD1 or crunch and OD1 or whatever, you know what I mean? You can only ever use 2 channels. So, it kind of stunts it in a way, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it would have been cool to have like a four-way kind of foot switch where you could go from clean to crunch to OD1 to OD2. I mean, they rectified that in the newer MGs, but I don't like the newer MGs. I don't think they sound anywhere near as good as the older ones. I just think they sound really weak and, you know, just meh, you know, to me anyway, my opinion. But yeah, the only way you can use the crunch is by just like turning it on, but then you sacrifice the clean channel basically. You can't use the clean channel. So and the same thing with the reverb as well. The reverb is set it and forget it kind of thing. You know, you can't turn reverb off and on as you please. You know, it's on or it's off. You know what I mean? It's one way or another. Because it would have been really cool. The MG would have been really, really. It would have been ace to have, like I say, a 4-channel foot switch with ability to go from clean to crunch to OD1 to OD2, and then have a button for the effects section. You know, the the delay, the chorus, and the flange section. That'd be really cool to have a foot switch for that. And then it'd be also really cool to have a foot switch for the reverb as well. So that kind of, those floorboards existed at the time the MG was developed because you had the Marshall AVT. So I don't really know why they didn't do that on the MG. I'll say they do it on the newer ones, but on the older ones, the 2004, 2003, 5, and 6 and 7 ones, you don't get that. And I don't really know why Marshall didn't do that. It's... it kind of limits the amp because OD1 and OD2 sound stunning and clean and crunch sounds stunning. And the reverb in the MG is gorgeous. I love the reverb in the MG is probably my favourite reverb out of all the amps I have. There's so much depth in there that I just love it. And the same with the effects. I mean, I like the onboard effects as well, especially the delay. I love the delay. And also the flange effect on the MG is gorgeous. But you can't switch between clean and crunch, and you can't switch the reverb off and on, and that is a bit of a I don't know, maybe it was a budget restriction, I don't know, but it still seems a bit silly to me. I remember thinking at the time, it's like, well, why is it only a 2-button foot switch? Why haven't they programmed it? Maybe they couldn't program it. I don't know. It's weird, but. Yeah, you can't go from clean to crunch. So if you want to use a crunch channel, you just have to set the crunch channel on and then just use the crunch channel. And the reverb, like I say, you just got to find that spot and leave it there, unless you keep going back and tweaking it. Which isn't a hardship, but it can be a bit annoying sometimes, you know what I mean? But I bet some electronics whiz could mod them to do that, you know what I mean? I bet somebody could actually mod it so you could assign the switch to a foot switch, you know what I mean? Like the button on the front, I bet you could you could mod the amp to assign it to a switch, a foot switch, instead of internally. I don't know, that'd be interesting to see actually. I wonder if anyone's ever done that. I bet they have. Anyway, but yeah, sadly there's no other way of doing it, unfortunately, so yeah, and like I say, I always felt that was a bit of a kind of like a shot in the foot for the MG series, really, the older MG series, because like I say, I mean, it's next to the CR120 and the Katana, it's my favourite amp of all time, and it would be nice. I mean, I've always wanted to go from OD1 to OD2, and also go from clean to crunch. The crunch, I never used the crunch mode on the MG at all. It's my least favourite mode on the MG. I like it, but I don't, compared to OD1 and OD2 in the clean channel, I've never felt the need to use it. But it would have been nice to have it there as an option if need be, you know what I mean? So, but yeah. Yeah, that was a bit silly. I don't really know why Marshall did that. Yeah. Because like I say, it did exist because you had the Marshall AVT, which had the 4-way foot switch and the ability to turn effects off and on. So, and I'm pretty sure there was other amps that they had, and there was other amps at the time that had that kind of ability. So I don't know why they never did that. I don't know. But yeah, so tips on switching it. It's just basically switch it on, and that's just kind of like that. And once it's on kind of thing, sadly. Like I said, unless you can find somebody to mod it to a foot switch. I don't know if you could do it, but I'm pretty sure somebody could. There's a lot of clever people out there. So, I hope that's a question. Going to move on to question 3 now. That was a rather aggressive 3. But anyway, moving on. Question 3. Get with it, Dave. Okay, question 3 is, do you set your katana up differently depending on which guitar you're playing? No. The katana is just set. My 50 and my 100 katana are set up identically, which is one of the reasons I love them so much. It's like all my MGs are set up identically as well. Like the EQ that works on my first Reverb MG carries over to the MG I use in videos and the other MG that I've got. The only thing that alters between the MGs is the gain. But other than that, they're same EQ all the time. The katanas I set just as they are. The 50 is set with channel 1 is for my pedal board, so that's the acoustic channel. And channel 2 is a John Fruscinate clean tone. And then I've got it set up so if I turn the booster on, I get I think it's is it the green or the red? It's what the green or the red distortion, basically, just to kind of like stick over the top and get more gain if I want to. That's how my Katana Mark 1's set. And then the Mark 2, the 100 watt is set with channel 1 is my pedal board setting, so again, acoustic channel. Channel 2 is my John Fruscinate clean tone. Channel 3 is a more Dave Gilmour-y, solo-y kind of like semi-crunch tone, which is the lead mode. And then channel 4 is just ultra gain, basically, like tons and tons of gain. It's the Gary Moore Sing Forever mode. I don't use the other side of the Katana because I know you've got you can have 4 presets on the 50 and you can have 8 on the 100, but I just use the 4. I don't need any more sounds. But I never change the EQ depending on guitar. I set all my amps with my white Strat. All my amps are EQ'd with my white Strat because I know that guitar inside out. I know the sound it makes and I know that's the sound I want. So once I have it set with that guitar, I don't touch it again. Not even for humbuckers or P90s. I just leave it, and just that is the way it is. Luckily, my guitars are quite homogeneous, and they all work to that sound. Like I said, I mean, my ear is so accustomed to my white Strat, so it is like, and I always, if something sounds wrong, I always go to my white Strat, because if it sounds wrong my white Strat, then there's something wrong. If it sounds like it should sound with my white Strat, then there's something wrong with the guitar that I'm playing at that point in time, or it isn't the right guitar or whatever. But my white Strat is kind of like the sound that I judge all others by, if you know what I mean. Because I've spent so much time with that guitar, that is the sound. And like I say, when I'm setting up my Boss Katanas, that's the guitar. That's the guitar I use when I'm trying out pedals for the first time, trying out amps for the first time, just because I know what it sounds like, and it's the guitar I'm most comfortable hearing, if that makes any sense. Yeah, out of all my guitars, that is the one I know inside and out. I know its tone inside and out. I know its little foibles, if you will. So, no, I don't change the EQ on my Katanas. They're just set as they are. And then I just plug into it. And like I say, if something doesn't sound right, then I'll go to the white Strat. And if it sounds normal with the white Strat, then it's the guitar. If it's not, then there's something going on with the amp or the pedals. So, through the years. But no, I don't alter EQ. Like, and the thing is too is I don't. Once I find a sound that I like and just works, I never change it. The only thing I've changed recently is to my Katana downstairs, because my Katana 100 is permanently set up downstairs. It's my kind of like, it's just a plug in and play amp. You know what I mean? It's like if I don't want to turn my MG on up here and go through pedals, or go in the other room and do anything with that. If I just want to plug in and just mess around, the Katana is set up for that. It's got no pedals. It doesn't need pedals. I don't need pedals with the Katana, apart from a wah-wah. I'd like a wah-wah. But it's not necessary. But my 100 is set up downstairs, and I say I've got those 3 presets. I've got clean, I've got a kind of like a crunchy kind of Dave Gilmour-y, leady kind of tone, and then I've got my full-out gain tone. And if I want chorus or delay, I can just dial them in as I need, kind of thing. But that is the amp I just kind of go and plug in and play. Now, you know, regardless of the guitar I've got, I just plug in and play, and it sounds the way I want it to sound. So to say, like I say, I'm lucky in my guitar. My guitars are homogeneous though because I know what I want out of them. So yeah, I don't know. Be that for what it may. I'm rambling again. But yeah, I don't change the EQ. Let's get back to the question, David. No, I don't change the EQ depending on the guitar I'm playing at all. It's set it, forget it. I don't like tweaking amplifiers. Like I said, the only thing I've tweaked recently is I've added a delay to my Dave Gilmour-y kind of semi-crunchy, broken up tone. That's the only thing I've added, because before that it was just reverb, but I've added a delay now just to just to make it a little bit more atmospheric, because that's the setting I use a good 75% of the time, is that kind of lead Dave Gilmour-y tone. And then if I want it clean, I just roll the volume down a bit. I don't alter those. You also said what is a good setup on a katana for a Rory Gallagher tone. I did a Q&A on this. Somebody asked this question a while back, and I did a video where I went down and showed how I would set up a katana, but I don't remember what I did, and I don't remember which Q&A it was. People of the tube, I ask for your help. If anybody knows what the Q&A was where I dialed in a Rory Gallagher-esque kind of tone on the katana, could they please leave the link in the comment section below, because I don't remember which one it is. But I seem to think, I could be wrong, and I probably am, I think I used the lead channel on the katana. I think. Off the top of my head, I would go lead channel, gain about 3/4, if not all the way up, depending on which era of Rory you're after. Volume all the way up. Gain, like I say, gain, yeah. So lead channel, gain about 3 o'clock, sorry. Or if not all the way up, depending on which era. Volume all the way up. Bass would probably be about 9 o'clock, so there. Mid, you'd have to tweak the mids to your own personal preference. I'd leave treble all the way down. Presence, I would just set glow. If you've got the 100, Katana 100, I would just set the presence at 12 o'clock. If you've got the 50, it'll just be set at 12 o'clock anyway, globally. And that's how I would set it. But again, I could have been... I don't remember how I did it now. I did do it in a Q&A where I kind of like dove into it a little bit. I did one for Stevie Ray Vaughan as well years ago. Well, about a year ago, should I say. I think it was last year. Time is a strange mistress, my dears. Yeah, I don't remember which one it is, but I have done that before. I really, really apologise. I'm so sorry. I don't remember at all. But that, off the top of my head, that's how I... If somebody said, how do you get a Rory Gallagher tone? Can you get a Rory Gallagher tone out of the katana really quick? That's how I would set it, and then I would tweak from there. So again, just to recap, I'd go to the lead mode, because you don't need like full-out brown mode gain. Lead mode, gain at 3 o'clock, volume all the way up, bass at 9 o'clock. Mids you'd have to tweak to your guitar and your setup. Treble all the way down, and presence if you have access to it at 12 o'clock. And then I would leave, and then you just kind of tweak and tweeze to kind of like however you feel, really, anything like that. Because you could add like a phaser. You could add a phaser in, because Rory used a phaser for stuff like Shadow Play and the Mississippi Sheiks. And I've also seen him use a phaser in Last of Independence. You used a phaser on quite a few things. You could also add the octave divider in as well for like his later versions of like Bad Penny and I Ain't No Saint. So you could add like the octave divider in to do those kind of things. Rory didn't use delay. You could add reverb in just to kind of like give it some space. Rory's guitar tone was always very, he didn't have reverb. The Vox AC30 he used didn't have reverb. The Bassman, the Fender Concert, the Marshall JMPs, even the Mesa Boogie amps he used and the Ampeg amps he used, they didn't have reverb. So Rory didn't really need reverb though, because of where he was playing. You know what I mean? Like concert halls have got their own kind of reverb and their own kind of like slapback kind of delay kind of thing going on. So you don't really need reverb, to be honest with you. It's kind of, if you're in a big hall, I think it's a good idea to kind of keep away from reverb too much. It's good. It's cool to use it, but it's more of like a when and needed effect instead of on all the time. Because if you're in a big hall and it's quite echoey and reverby, the moment you add more reverb to that sound, it can muddy it up. You just got reverb is kind of like is one of those things of kind of like when and needed in a big room. If you're in a really small room or you're recording, reverb is a godsend. You know what I mean? It's one of those gorgeous things. because it just adds so much more dimension. But like if you're playing an arena, you know, it's kind of pointless, you know, in a way, you know, apart from kind of like obviously certain occasions, you know, because it can get a bit wishy-washy if you're not careful. But yeah, so that's how I would say it for a Rory tone. And I say you've got all the effects in there to simulate different Rory tones as well. You know, you can, like I say, you can get the octave divider in there. You can get the phaser in there. Reverb to simulate some kind of like room or certain sounds. The one sound I've never been able to get close to of Rory is the sound he has on Bad Penny in Paris. The gig in Paris. It was the first video I ever saw of Rory playing Bad Penny. It was in black and white, actually. It wasn't in colour. It was on YouTube years and years ago. And this is what started my obsession for Rory. I saw him playing Bad Penny, and he's using the Marshall JMPs, the 50-watt combos at this point in time. I mean, he's got 2 of them. I don't know if he had an AC30 wheel as well. I'm pretty sure it's just the Marshalls. But he's got a sound in that gig that's it's really clunky. It's like a real strong mid-range clunk to it. And it's like, you know, you can hear, like, there's so much definition in it, but it's got tons of sustain. And it's a sound I've always been obsessed with. It's my favourite Rory tone, actually. And he had it at the Belfast gig, where he... if you look for the Belfast gig where he plays, like, I don't know if there's too much footage left on YouTube of it, but he does, like, Big Guns and I Wonder Who, and he does Shadow Play. And in Shadow Play, he runs behind and he gets on top of Jerry McAvoy's bass amps, and he's stood on top of the bass amps. Ridiculously cool! Oh, Rory. Just thinking about it makes me smile, because he's just so cool. Oh. But he's got a sound at those gigs that is really big, because obviously they're a trio at that point, so he had to be big. But he's got a sound of those gigs that I've never been able to find, and I've played through one of those Marshall JMPs and I still couldn't get it. And I know Rory did use some pedals, like, to boost his amplifiers. I mean, he used a Boss distortion pedal, and it's this huge. It looks like the CE1 chorus. It's this huge pedal. And it was a distortion pedal. Basically, he would have it on his amp and on all the time. And it had a graphic EQ on it. The best place to see this would be at the Rock Palace gig in 80... I want to say 82 or 84. I forget which one it is. But it's the one where he's got the keyboard player and they're outside. He plays Bad Penny and he plays loads of things. But he's got loads of amplifiers at this point in time. He's got a Vox AC30, and if you look really closely at the beginning of that gig, I'm not sure if it's on YouTube, but it's a big outdoor thing. There's a couple of Rock Blast ones, but I'm pretty sure it's the 80s or it's the late 70s. I forget the date. But if you watch the beginning of that gig, Rory comes out with his Strat, and he goes back, and he's got, at this gig, he's got an AC30, and he's got 2 or 3 little Mesa Boogie combos, and they're only tiny. They're like really tiny combos, and he's using all of them. But if you watch the beginning of that gig, he's checking out his AC30, and then he goes back to the amp and he turns the pedal on, and you hear him turning it on, and then he doesn't turn it off. It's just on all the time. And Rory did this all the time. He did it with a treble booster. He did it with his Boss distortion pedal, and he would always have pedals on top of his amplifier. The phaser pedal he used, I don't know what the phaser pedal was, but the phaser pedal was always on top of the amplifier. It was never at his feet. It wasn't until like the late 80s, mid to late 80s and into the 90s, he had pedals in front of him, like the octave divider and the tube screamer, and a phaser pedal in front of him then. But for the longest time, Rory, when he was using pedals, they were on his amp, and they were just kind of on all the time, kind of thing. Unless the phaser, which was just kind of like on when he wanted it on and turned it off when he didn't. But Rory always had something else going on. It was never just straight into an amp. There was always something else. And this Boss distortion pedal, I'm pretty sure, was key to that sound that I'm hearing in those gigs. And I've never seen one for sale. And I can imagine if they are for sale, they're ridiculous prices. But
I reckon they were key to that sound, and I'm pretty sure he's using it at that gig because he used it loads. And I say that gig, that Rock Palace gig in I forget when it was, but is a great example to when to see that pedal kind of being used, and it sounds wicked. And he's got that sound there as well, and that's a gig where his Stratocaster's acting the goat as well. He's got a DiMarzio pickup in the bridge pickup in that gig as well. It's a black pickup in the thing, and he's also missing. It's a really weird gig. He comes out wearing a white jacket. He's got a white jacket on, but he's got a black DiMarzio pickup in the bridge, and he's also missing this. I don't know if there's a pot there or there isn't a pot there, but he's missing the middle tone on his number one Stratocaster. And the number one Strat is actually acting the goat loads in that gig, and he doesn't use it a great deal. He uses his Music Master instead. Just because at that point in time he was having a lot of issues. The original neck isn't on his 61 at that point in time. It's a replacement neck because the original was saturated. But yeah, I've gone well off the point, haven't I? Sorry, I'm getting carried away talking about Rory Gallagher. Maybe 4 questions is a bad idea because it's just going to lead to more tangents. I don't know. But anyway, back to the question at hand, because I could talk about Rory's tone all day, and I do apologise. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I got carried away. So that's back to what I was saying earlier on. Set up a Rory Gallagher tone on the Katana. You want to go for kind of the lead mode, I would say, more than the brown mode. But I don't remember how I did it before. I could have used the brown mode. I don't know. But my initial instinct would be, say, to use the lead channel. Just because it gives you that more kind of... it's not as gainy. It'd probably get you more... The lead channel would probably get you closer to the taste kind of tone. Whereas the brown mode would probably get you closer to his late 80s, 90s tone. But yeah. So anyway, hope that made sense. I really hope that made sense. I could talk about Rory's tone all day. I have spent hours trying to work out some of these sounds. Anyway, last question of everybody. Question 4. Question 4 is, are there any songs you would like to cover but take in a different direction? Like Jimmy's version of All Along the Watchtower. Yeah, there's loads. There's quite a lot. I mean, I'm trying to think of any off the top of my head now. I can't think on the spot. Yeah, I mean, taking a different direction. Yeah, there's a few. I can't think of any off the top of my head though. It's driving me mad. I'm on the spot, so I can't think. You ever get that? Like where it's like if you go to a guitar shop and you go guitar shopping or something like that, and it's like you see a guitar you like, and play us something. And you're like, all of a sudden you're just like, I don't know what to play. All of a sudden you can't play. It's just like, not even Smoke on the Water comes to mind. If Smoke on the Water doesn't come to mind, you're in trouble. We're going down, Captain. Anyway, cover songs you like to take a different direction. Yeah, it's fun to do. It's quite cool to mess around with the original versions. I can think of a few examples. Like, say, there is Jimmy's All on the Watchtower. Perfect Circle do a version of Imagine by John Lennon. And it's so dark. It takes the song in a totally different direction, and it just changes the vibe of the song. And I always felt in Perfect Circle's version of Imagine, where Maynard sings the line, I hope someday you will join us. Join us is now, join us. Instead of kind of like, join us and be happy and free. It's join us. It has this weird, sinister undercurrent. And I love that. And it's so dark sounding, and the piano, dun, dun. If you've never heard Perfect Circle's version of Imagine, go and look it up. It's really cool. I mean, it won't be for everybody, but I love the darkness of it. It's really, really cool. They also do a stunning version of When the Levee Breaks. And again, it's their own thing. And it's just, gorgeous. Johnny Cash's version of Hurt as well. I mean, that's another version. I mean, that's Johnny Cash made Hurt his own. He really did. It's not a million miles away from a Nine Inch Nails version, but it is a million miles away, if that makes any sense. And it's perfect song. I mean, the video is heartbreaking, and it's just perfect, absolutely perfect. There's a lot of people who have covered songs, original songs, and it's no longer that original person's song. Like Bob Dylan always said that Jimi Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower is the definitive version. It's much in like Sinead O'Connor's version of Nothing Compares to You is the superior version to Prince's version. Or not. I personally think Chris Cornell's version of Nothing Compares to You is better than all of them. But I could be, I don't know. In my opinion, anyway, I love Chris Cornell's version of Nothing Compares to You. It's gorgeous. Same with Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley. Jeff Buckley's version of Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen has said, like, that's the definitive version of it. And, he's not wrong. Jeff made that his song. You know what I mean? That is a Jeff... it's not Jeff Buckley's song, but it's Jeff Buckley's song. John Frusciante, Song to the Siren, Tim Buckley. John's version of Song to the Siren is not a million miles removed from the original Song to the Siren, but it is, you know what I mean? And it's definitely in his own way. I'm trying to think of others. Evanescence have a great version of a Korn song called Thoughtless. Korn have a song called Thoughtless. It's a really, really cool song. It's a bit strange. It's got this really weird guitar part, bending this note kind of out of tune thing. It's really cool. But Evanescence did a cover of that song, and they did it in this different style, and that's really cool. And I prefer their version over Korn's version. Korn's version is really, really cool, but the Evanescence version has got something about it, and the way she sings it, and because it's got this piano in it, and I don't know, the chorus has got a bit more of a flow. Korn's version of Thoughtless, their chorus has got a weird flow to it. It's kind of staggered, and it kind of does that. Whereas Evanescence has this version, it flows through. It's really, really nice. As for songs I would like to take in different directions, there's quite a few. I can't think of any at this point in time because my brain's just gone meh. I did do a version of You Know You're Right. I managed to find Kurt's isolated vocal to You Know You're Right. I don't know how I found it or even where I found it, but it's on it's on the Dave Simpson Trio's YouTube channel. And I did do a version of You Know You're Right with Kurt singing, and I played guitar behind it, but it was a clean Hendrixy John Frusciante guitar behind his voice, but he's singing. And that's on my other channel. I can't upload. I really wanted to upload it to this channel, but I can't because it's copyright infringement, and you get knackered for it. But it is on my other channel. So if you're intrigued, there is that version on my other channel. I'll put the link to it actually in the description box below. If you're interested, I'll put the link for it in the description box below. Don't hurt me. I've just remembered one song I'd like to take in a different direction. Bear with me. I almost don't want to say it, but I do. Lady Gaga's song Paparazzi, because it's got some really cool things in it. I actually did a nylon string version of it years and years and many years ago, like 2008. I did a version of it, but it's got a really gorgeous chorus, and the melody of the chorus and the way it interacts with the chords is wicked. And I've always wanted to do a kind of Hendrixy John Frusciante version of that song. Maybe I will one day. I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay, so at some point, it won't be on this channel though. I don't know how I'm going to get it out there because obviously it'll be, copyright infringed. But yeah, I would like to do that. That is a song I would like to redo because I really like that song. The melody of it really hooks me and pulls me in. And like I say, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure song in a way, but it's not really guilty pleasure. I actually like it. It's a great song. It's a good song. It's catchy as hell. It's almost the perfect. It's like a perfect pop tune. Anyway, that's one of the songs. I also me and my sister, we did a version of a Tom Waits song called "Going Out West." I'm sure my sister would love to know that I'm peddling this one for her. But my sister sang it, and we did the music to our version of Going Out West by Tom Waits, which is a wicked song, but we totally changed it. And I drop C'd it. I think the song's in C, and I put the guitar in drop C. And it's really grungy. I'll tell you what, just to annoy my sister, I'll put the link to that in the description box below. If it's still on YouTube, I don't know if it's still on YouTube. If it is, I'll put the link to that in the description box below as well. But it's really heavy. We did a really kind of like heavy, grungy version of Going Out West. And there is a few others I'd like to do, but yeah. So there is, but yeah, I'm gonna do that at some point. We'll do a little version of Lady Gaga's Paparazzi in kind of like a Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante style, because it really lends it's really weird. It lends itself to that style really well. It's bizarre. I mean, I'd have to do a little bit more work on it, but it does lend itself to that style, and the chorus, when you do it, it really, you know, you can make it really anthemic and really, really cool. It sounds gorgeous. So at some point, like I say, you know, these weird guilty pleasures we have. Is there any other? I can't think of any others. But you also asked, what's your favourite guitar-related covers? And this is a question I want to put to all of you out there, people of the tube. What is your favourite guitar-related cover? I don't know. I mean, there's quite a lot. Luca. I don't want to pronounce his last name wrong. Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can pronounce his name correctly, because I don't want to... I'll probably still butcher it. But there's this guy, he plays... Stricanoli. I don't know if that's how you'd pronounce it. But it's this guy. Hang on a minute. I don't know if you can... There. That guy. He does some amazing solo guitar covers. He did Last of the Mohicans and Braveheart, and he's done like Snow. He's done Muse covers. AC/DC did Thunderstruck. He is one of my favourite guitarists for kind of like that one guitar thing. His version of Braveheart is stunning. Gladiator. He does all these film things. Last of the Mohicans is gorgeous as well. So he's awesome. I love watching him play. He's just really, really cool. Other guitar-related covers. You know, there is things like, you know, Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah, Jimmy's On the Watchtower. I mean, love them. Diddly-dee. I once heard a version of Don't Fear the Reaper, and it was one guy on guitar singing and playing it. And it was gorgeous because it was just guitar and vocal, and he sang it really quietly, and it was really, really cool. It's actually weird. It's I heard it through the movie Scream. It's in the movie Scream, and then I wanted to find out who it was, and it's this amazing version of Don't Fear the Reaper by this guy. He's just singing it with an acoustic guitar, and it's really slow, and it's just gorgeous. Trying to think of others. It's really hard when you put on the spot. I can't think of any others, but yeah, sorry, I can't think of any others. That was my phone, sorry. Peter Frampton's version of Black Hole Sun is really cool. That's really, really cool. I can't think of any others. I mean, yeah, I can't think of any others, I'm afraid. Sorry. My brain's gone blank. Yeah, but anyway. But yeah, people of the tube, what are your favourite guitar-related covers? Let us know in the comment section below. And yes, and I say, if anybody does know the Q&A video where I did the Rory Gallagher tone, could they please let us know in the comment section below as well, because I can't remember. I don't. I think I've done like 100. I've done like well over 100 Q&As. I can't remember. I should really go back and number them all, but that's a lot to go and number. Anyway, I hope that your question's okay, everybody. I've still got the fear, even though I only did 4 questions and I feel like I elaborated far too much on stuff. But I hope that your question's okay. I hope there's kind of like some things in there you can take away and make sense, so to say. But So yeah, is there anything else to say? Oh yeah, if you want to submit a question to Q&A Wednesday, everybody, description box below. The top email link is where you submit questions to. Okay, so is there anything else to say? No. That's it, everybody. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Be healthy, be happy. Just do what you can to get through these weird times. Got a horrible feeling it's going to get a lot darker before it gets a lot lighter. So, just look after each other, take care of each other. Be there for each other, and help everybody through, because we've only got each other. And if we start turning on each other and fighting over toilet paper, what's the point? In my opinion, we all need to help each other. We're all on the same planet. This isn't some kind of weird alien race where we can all go to different planets. We're all here. We all breathe. We all live. We all have the same red stuff running through our veins. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous to think like, I'm out for myself. At times like this, you can't be out for yourself. So, let's not do that. Let's all look out for each other and all be happy as best we can. And I say, get through this ridiculousness as much as possible. It's crazy times. Weird times. And like I say, I've got a horrible feeling there's an end game to this. I don't know what it is, but I feel there's a weird end game to this. I also feel there's ulterior motives that aren't in our favour as the general public. There's something going on, and I don't like it, and it scares me to hell. I could be looking into it too far. I certainly hope I am. I don't know. It's a weird time. So take care of each other. Take care of your family, your friends. Just anybody who needs help, give it to them as best you can. And yeah, don't stop playing guitar. Music at this point in time and for the foreseeable future will be more important, I think, than we'll ever imagine. Because there's going to be a lot of problems after this virus is gone. And the problems after the virus is gone will eclipse the virus. And that's scary. That's really, really scary and terrifying. And I don't like the thought of it, but that's the way I think it's going to go. And that freaks me out. So, just be careful, everybody. Look after yourselves. Just do what you can to stay healthy and be happy and be occupied as well. And just, don't let fear get the best of you. You know what I mean? Just try and remain level, try and remain focused, try and just, take each day as it comes. Don't listen to the media. They want you to be scared. You know what I mean? It's not a good, they're not full of facts, they're full of fear. Just take each day as it comes and go by what you see and experience. Don't go by what people tell you it should be or shouldn't be, you know what I mean? We've all got to think for ourselves. We've all got to take it as we see it. But you've got to help people. We've got to help people. We can't just be kind of leaving people with nothing. If you've got something, if you can spare things, spare it. You know what I mean? Because there's far too much greed going around, and it's horrible, and I can't stand it, and it makes me just despair. Don't steal everything. There's so many people that's like, I'm taking everything for myself and you're not having anything. Like, what is wrong with you? Is my when I see people just like taking everything for themselves and hoarding it just so no one else can have it, I can't help but feel, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And I'm terrified to think it'll get to a point where if people know you've got something, they're willing to come and break into your house to get it and fight you for it. Because there's that level of kind of hysteria at this point in time where, it could easily get to that point where you could start to see people breaking into people's houses just to steal stuff. It could happen. It could easily happen. And the way the media and the governments are hyping this thing up to be kind of like, really, really terrifying, you can get people into a frenzy like that. It's terrifying. So just be careful, everybody. Please be careful. Don't let it get too silly and don't get it too hand. I don't know. I don't know. Like I say, I just got a horrible feeling this is going to get 10 times worse before it gets 10 times better. It's just, yeah, everything's just stopped. The world has stopped. It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And it stops me from going to France, which I'm heartbroken about. Thank you! All planned, all paid for, dates were set, can't go. And I'm sure a lot of us are feeling the same thing. Frustration, anger, heartbreak, upset. Like I say, watch out for the end game. The end game will be worse than the virus. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Sorry to get all weird at the end. But yes, like I say, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again on Friday for another vid. I have a guitar show on Friday. And, yeah, so I've got a guitar show on Friday. And then, yeah, and I've actually got videos planned for the first time in forever. Because I planned it because obviously I thought I was going away. And I wanted to keep videos for you going. So, but now that ain't going to happen. I might as well stick to the plan anyway. But, yeah. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you again very soon. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening. Look after each other. Be healthy, be happy. Play music really loud. And, just try and forget as best you can of what's going on in the world and just take it day by day. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you again soon. Have a great one. Goodbye now.